following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, do you know that is the truth or what? Here we go. Today is Tuesday, February the 15th of 2022, day 46 of the year, and only 319 days left to go. Anyways, hopefully you had a fantastic Valentine's Day doing whatever exactly it was that you were doing, so that's going to be important. And of course, also enjoyed the greatest discount day on chocolate. Valentine's Day chocolate, which is known as February the 15th, because that's exactly how it goes. So there you go. So a lot of stuff going on, of course, always in the morning as we are hanging and banging and doing the things that we get to do. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, just in case if you're wondering where we're hanging and banging and doing all the stuff that we get to do, that's where we're actually located. So there you go, information-wise. And then we were hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, over there. Radio Big. So, of course, hanging out with the people at RadioBig.fm. Anyway, so let's start talking right away about the things that were trending yesterday and the overnight and all that kind of fun stuff, because that's always important as we are talking this morning. So here we go. Happy Valentine's Day was trending on Monday in honor of the holiday. Hashtag Oscar fan favorite landed on Twitter's top 10 as fans tweeted out their votes of their favorite 2020 films, including winners that will be revealed on the award ceremony on March 27th. Many tweets were in favor of Zack Snyder's Justice League getting recognition. Also, hashtag Day Without Immigrants was trending on Monday as protesters in D.C. advocated for expedite citizenship of undocumented workers in the U.S. Monday marked 4 years since the deadly shooting of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. President Biden took the opportunity to tweet about stricter gun laws. So that was exactly what was occurring yesterday as we were taking a look around inside of the world. So what is going on inside of your neck of the woods? What is going on with you today? Today is one of those days where you have to focus on you. I mean, that's always what it's about, is focusing on you and the well-being of other people. Of course, we can talk about that a little bit more as we're hanging out this morning and going through the whole thing that we talk about here on this lovely show. But we'll get to that here in just one moment. 1 moment or so, 1 moment or two, 1 moment or three. You know what I'm saying there in that particular regard. So anyways, let's continue talking about some other things and explain exactly how this show is laid out. So it goes something like this. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what's going on inside of the world. And then I kind of jump in and give you some of my nonsense. And then we go from there and talk and bang and move and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, I'll talk about this real quick. The newest ebook that's available on Safety FM Plus. .com, so that's safetyfmplus.com. If you're looking at the screen, the ebook is about the psychology of sexuality, what turns us off, on, and why. That's readily available to you on Safety FM Plus, or you can actually just click on the QR code to take a little snappy of it. And that will get you directly into our Safety FM Plus area. And then you can take a look at what is going on right there. We do put out new books in the ebook category every month. Well, we're talking about doing some other things here relatively quick, where you and I get to hang out and do some more stuff. Anyway, so let's do this before we get too far away into the weeds here. Let me go ahead and get you into where my friends are hanging out at Feature Story News, and then we can get some news rolling your general direction, and then we'll get moving and groving and all that other fun stuff that we get to do together as we're hanging out and looking at the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Richard Kimber. Canada's Prime Minister has announced that the Emergencies Act has been invoked for the first time in the country's history. The move is a bid to grant authorities greater powers to respond to blockades formed by protesters calling for an end to COVID-19 restrictions. William Denslow reports from Ottawa.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the Emergencies Act will be geographically targeted, proportionate and limited in time. He says the measures will strengthen and support law enforcement, bolster the ability to tow vehicles blocking roads and clamp down on the financial support for illegal blockades. Big rigs have blockaded a portion of downtown Ottawa outside Parliament for more than 2 weeks, and demonstrators have also disrupted several bridges linking the US and Canada over recent days. Protesters are calling for an end to COVID-19 restrictions, but Trudeau says the blockades are illegal and it's time for demonstrators to go home. William Denslow, Ottawa.
The United States is closing its embassy in the Ukrainian capital over fears of an imminent Russian invasion. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced embassy staff and operations are moving from Kiev to Lviv. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
In a statement, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said it was a temporary relocation due to the dramatic acceleration in the build-up of Russian forces. He said these were prudent precautions, noting that the Biden administration would continue intensive diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the crisis. US officials have reportedly signalled Wednesday as the day they anticipate a Russian invasion could occur, which is why they're urging all American citizens to leave Ukraine immediately, by any means possible. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
And the Hong Kong government is set to start using hotels and public housing estates as COVID-19 quarantine centres, as hospitals overflow with new coronavirus patients. The city recorded a record daily high of more than 2,000 cases on Monday, and there's expectations the caseload will continue to rise this week. The Hong Kong government says 2 new public housing estates, each with 3,000 flats and up to 10,000 more hotel rooms, will soon be used to isolate COVID-19 patients and their close contacts. That's as the city continues to struggle to fight an outbreak of the Omicron variant. Daily case numbers reached 2,071 on Monday, and early test data suggests there could be more than 4,500 cases confirmed by the end of Tuesday. 4 elderly COVID-19 patients died on Monday. 10 more patients are in critical condition in hospital, including a 3-year-old girl. Health authorities have bought 100 million rapid test kits and are distributing them to elderly care home staff in a bid to stop transmission chains among the city's older population, many of whom are still not vaccinated against the virus. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Russia claims it's withdrawing some of its forces deployed near Ukraine amid fears of an invasion. NBC's Bree Jackson.
Russia withdrawing some troops from Ukraine Tuesday, raising hopes of possible de-escalation. The Kremlin contends they've always said troops would return to base after military exercises.
The announcement came ahead of a planned meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who hopes to avoid a military conflict. More than 100,000 Russian troops have been building up around the former Soviet country as Moscow demands security guarantees from NATO. Western nations have promised crippling economic sanctions if Russia invades. The Trump Organization's longtime accounting firm is dropping former President Donald Trump's company as a client because of information in financial statements they say is not reliable. The move by Mazars came to light Monday in a court filing by New York Attorney General Letitia James. For years, Mazars prepared Trump's income tax returns and financial statements he used to get loans for his company. James has been investigating how the Trump Organization valued certain real estate assets and tax-related issues and applications for loans and insurance policies. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is taking a major step in trying to put an end to trucker protests in Ottawa. Speaking to reporters, Trudeau announced he's invoked the federal government's Emergency Act, which which gives additional powers to law enforcement agencies handling the situation.
This Emergencies Act in no way brings in the military as a solution against Canadians. We are empowering law enforcement. I think that's what Canadians want to see.
For weeks now, protesters and trucks have occupied a number of streets in the area opposing coronavirus mandates. Team USA is adding to its medal count in the Winter Olympics. 4 speed skaters scored a bronze today in the men's team pursuit. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing our thing on this lovely Tuesday, which I almost wanted to call a Wednesday, which I don't know why. But anyways, you're here for the news, so let's start talking about some of that stuff and what we have going on. And by the way, I just want to give some commentary before I go into this. Safety in the news, news and safety. It doesn't mean that it's all news. It doesn't mean that it's all safety. It's a nice little combination of both things. There you go. Anyways, also the other side of the equation, if you're interested in kind of hanging around and doing some stuff together, you can go into callinradio.com. That is callinradio.com. That will be the messaging, the voicemail, the video mail, whatever, the text messaging, whatever you want it to be, right there already and available to you. So there you go. Anyway, so let's start talking about some of the things that are going on right now. Justin Trudeau has invoked the Canada Emergency Act for the first time in the country's history to shut down the widespread labor rights protests spearheaded by the Teamsters across the country, while the aspiring dictator, I don't even know why it says that, said that he will not mobilize the military against the labor rights demonstration, and the act that allows the government to freeze bank accounts without court orders. This is in the hopes of shutting down the convoy that gridlocks Ottawa for the last few weeks. The measure will also allow the government to revoke vehicle insurance paperwork, which will allow also to create bureaucratic headaches in form of fines and other penalties. But wait, the convoy has evolved into a commune of sorts with an abundant free food for anyone who asks for it, music and dancing all day long, group prayer and general solidarity in the movement of advocating for workers' right. Worth noting, in the weeks since the convoy descended on Ottawa, cases in Canada have plummeted. Trudeau has every incentive to end the restrictions based on the changes in the data. His ongoing efforts to focus on control, not science. So there you go. That is apparently a very strong opinion from someone who decided to write and give me the information. So there you go. So what do you think about this? We're starting to see more and more of these things, as we kind of talked about, that we kind of knew that was going to happen. It's not like it's some big level of surprise of, hey, these are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to happen. So let's continue talking about some other things. The NFL has partnered with a nonprofit Good 360 for the 8th consecutive year to put pre-printed merchandise reflecting the Bengals Super Bowl victory to good use around the world. A spokesperson for the group tells the News Nation that the swag first heads to the international unnamed central location in the United States, and then it is parceled out to the people in need of clothing around the globe. There's a good bit of strategy that goes into distribution too. Good 360 says, for example, we wouldn't want to send thousands of this apparel items to the community that relies on textile manufacturing for goods. We want to really be sensitive, and we do not want to put the things into the area that are going to cause disruption or more issues. The other portion is, I would imagine you don't want to send any of this shit to Ohio. And the reason that I say this, can you imagine all these people that would go around all of a sudden and have these shirts saying that the Bengals actually won? And, well, we already know that they didn't, so that would not probably be a good thing for that community. But that's neither here nor there as we are talking. Anyways, a new study suggests that the American Southwest is enduring the longest drought in 1,200 years. The cause is a climate change caused by greenhouse gases, researchers say. Worth asking what caused the drought 1,200 years ago in the 800s. So there's something to really think about as we are talking. You know what I forgot to talk about this morning? First thing, we did not talk about the top 5 songs on each side, one on iTunes and one on Spotify, so maybe it's time to do so. According to Spotify, the number 5 spot would be Gale with A, B, C, D, E, F, U. At number 4 was Glass Animals with Heat Wave. At number 3 was The Kid and Justin Bieber with Stay. At 2 was Lil Nas X, That's What I Want. And at number 1, according to Spotify, was Ed Sheeran, The Joker and the Queen featuring Taylor Swift. There you go. Okay, the number 5 spot, according to iTunes, was Becky G and Karol G with Mammy. At number 4 was Encanto soundtrack, We Don't Talk About Bruno. At number 3 was Mary J. Blige with Family Affair. At number 2 was Ed Sheeran with The Joker and the Queen featuring Taylor Swift. And then at the number 1 spot was Jungkook with Stay Alive. So there you go. That's according to what iTunes had to say about what was going on. So there you go. Anyways, before we get too far away from everything, let's bring in some Johnny Smalls and have him tell you about what is going on with the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. Equities retreated Monday, extending the sell-off that began last week in the wake of the CPI report. The selling is driven in part by fears of rising inflation, in part by fears of FOMC activity after so long without, and in part by geopolitical fears centered on Russia and Ukraine. The threat of war could destabilize the already overstrained global supply chain, but it looks like the powers that be will continue to talk for now while Putin slowly builds his forces along the border. This week, the PPI data will be in sharp focus as it is expected to accelerate on a month-to-month basis. The consensus is for producer-level prices to rise 0.5% on top of the previous month's 0.2%. and put the year-over-year increase even closer to double digits. The risk for the market is that the PPI will come in above consensus and increase the expectations for a 50 basis point interest rate hike at the March FOMC meeting. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know exactly what is going on inside of the world. So let's talk about it real quick. Big thing going on out there with people watching the Winter Olympics, not to be confused with the Summer Olympics, because there is a huge difference, of course. That would be the weather. Anyway, so let's talk about it. After 10 days of competition, here is the medal countdown. Norway has 9 gold, 5 silver, 7 bronze. Russia has 4 gold, 6 silver, 8 bronze. U.S. has 7 gold, 6 silver, 3 bronze. Germany with 8 gold, 5 silver, 2 bronze. And Austria has 5 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking already about the world of the news. So let's start talking about some other things that are going on inside of here. A lot of people are talking about this, so let's talk about it. Amazon's unlimited free shipping for Prime members about to get a little more expensive. Julie Carpenter explains.
The subscription cost is set to rise, with the annual cost jumping from $119 to $139, and the monthly rate going up to $14.99. The company recently announced the hike as part of its earnings report. For current subscribers, the prices will take effect after March 25th on the date of the next renewal, but for new subscribers, the higher price will kick in on February 18th. I'm Julie Carpenter, NBC News Radio.
Okay, so I guess if you're contemplating about going ahead and purchasing an Amazon Prime account, it would be now time to do so and not wait too long before anything else happens inside of there. That is what it's definitely sounding like as we are talking here this morning. Anyways, let's talk about some other thing. GM announces additional commitment to equitable climate action. General Motors says that it's committed to equitable climate action. Trey Thomas has more details.
GM announced Monday it will expand that commitment by doubling its climate equity fund. It says the dedication of a total of $50 million will help close equity gaps in the transition to electric vehicles and other sustainable technology. That's in addition to GM's commitment to invest $35 billion around the world in EV and AV programs, research, technology, manufacturing, and charging infrastructure. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that one, letting us know what is going on inside of that world. As we kind of go over a little bit of everything here, let's talk about this, because we talk about life and we talk about death, but did you hear about this one? A bill to repeal Utah's death penalty fails to move forward. Listen to this real quick. It looks like the bill that would repeal the death penalty in Utah will not pass as the legislation this year. Salt Lake City County, can't even speak. District Attorney Sim Gill supported the passage of the bill 147 during the hearing yesterday at the state capitol.
Right now, we have a death penalty that is antiquated, misapplied, and it makes us feel good, but it does nothing for victims.
Okay, Gill support what was countered as by the Utah Attorney General Office as the members of the public who spoke against the bill during yesterday's hearing. The repeal failed to advance the 6-5 vote in the House Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice Committee. The bill would also have barred seeking the death penalty and new aggravated murder cases, dropping the maximum sentence in the prison. Andrew Peterson of the Utah Attorney General Office says that eliminating the death penalty won't save money or provide solace to victims.
We see year after year, decade after decade of continuous litigation from those non-capital cases, re-traumatizing families, requiring family members to sometimes even have to testify again.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of there. So it'll be interesting to see some of the things that is happening out of Utah because we talk about it all the time. So let's take a listen to this. Police use rape kit DNA to link a woman to a crime. Take a listen to this. The San Francisco Police Department is catching heat after investigation reportedly used a DNA from a rape kit to link a woman to a crime, Trey Thomas reports.
The city's district attorney said Monday that possibly violated the woman's constitutional rights. The San Francisco Chronicle reported the SFPD entered DNA profiles of potentially thousands of sexual assault victims over many years into a database used to identify suspects. Police used the woman's DNA to link her to a felony property crime case. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that one. So I guess that's going to be an interesting move that's going to be handled there. That is for sure, because it is a change of events on how that was done. I mean, that's not something out of the ordinary or something out of the Commonwealth. I mean, I guess was one way to take a look at it as we are talking. Anyways, D.C. drops proof of vax requirements for businesses. Don't know if you heard about this, but proof of vaccination will no longer be required to enter businesses across the district. The mayor says that this will be the move, at least for now.
I don't think any of us can say here that there won't be other variants that would require us to do something different.
Okay, the district only kept the requirements in place for about a month. Businesses say may choose to still provide proof of vaccination upon entry on their own discretion. So I guess some things to think about as we are talking this morning and going through all of that stuff. Anyways, it is currently 28 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's continue. Mayor Lightfoot is highlighting the increase of domestic violence related incidents in Chicago throughout the pandemic. The mayor says that the city has made resources for domestic violence and survivors its top priority. Of course, it's coming out of Chicago.
People who are themselves right this moment feeling vulnerable and under siege, that we are here for them.
Okay, last year, Chicago had a 56% more domestic violence related to non-deadly shootings than 2020. 2020 saw 79% of more domestic violence related homicides than 2019. Take a listen to this real quick. Elon Musk donated $5.7 billion in Tesla stock to charity. The world's richest man donated more than $5 billion to charity in less than a month. Trey Thomas has more information.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk gave away more than 5 million shares in the luxury high-performance electric car company in 10 days last November, according to an SEC filing. The filing didn't name the charity, but the gift totaled around $5.75 billion. Musk made the donation while trading barbs with liberal senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. The lawmakers were calling on wealthy Americans to pay more taxes. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so there you go. Some interesting things coming out of there. Anyways, rush hour traffic may be spreading out. A new study says that the pandemic didn't kill rush hour in America. It just spread traffic throughout the day. Mike Bauer reports.
The rise of home offices and flexible work hours means there were fewer cars on the road last year during traditional peak times, particularly the morning commute, according to the TomTom Traffic Index 2021. In some cities, there was a new late morning peak around 11 a.m. In others, the evening rush hour started earlier, as early as 3 or 4 p.m. The change in traffic patterns could be one of the lasting trends of the pandemic, but a lot will depend on whether remote work sticks around. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, thank you, Mike Bauer, for that one as we are talking. Let's do one more real quick. Amtrak stuck. More Amtrak trains stuck on the tracks with no power for 7 hours. More than 100 passengers were trapped for hours on a stalled Amtrak and Acela train that lost powers in Queens on Monday. I got some more information for you on that.
Amtrak passengers say everybody stayed pretty calm as they waited for the stalled train to get going again. It took 7 hours for that to happen.
They told us there was no electricity on the train. They gave us free food from the cafe car, and everybody stayed calm.
The train from Boston that was headed to D.C. lost power in Queens around 8:30 Monday morning. It finally pulled into Penn Station around 3:30 in the afternoon. Amtrak says it's working to figure out exactly what went wrong with the power and make sure it does not happen again. Noam Layden, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, Noam Layden, thank you very much for that one. I guess we need some form of unlimited power. Is one way to look at it. Anyway, it's about that time. It is currently 31 minutes past the top of the hour, and I think it's time to do that thing that we call the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's get moving and grooving and talking and doing and going about and all of that kind of fun stuff. So we talk about this all the time. We talk about everything that goes on inside of this little joint. But sometimes we need to talk about when things don't go right. We have to talk about when things happen, when things move, when things go in a different direction. So let's do that this morning. Let's talk about, if you looked at the titling of what we had going on, it was simple. It was a simple question. Where do you turn when it all fails? So, as a safety professional, as a person that goes out there and does business inside of the general pub, or maybe you're even in the private sector, but you do work that impacts other people. You do work that does move and groove inside of what other people have going on. I mean, it's just the reality of what is happening. But when you're taking a look around and you start planning out these things, there's normally a lot of thoughts that go into this. There's normally a lot of process. There's normally a lot of things that you have worked on to get to this point. At least that's what I would assume. So you sit around, you might have a book, you might have some data sheets, you might have some information from people that are out in the field, you might have some field workers with you, and you sit down and you make a strategy and you make a plan about all the things that are happening inside of your organization. You make a plan about how these injuries occurred. You make a plan based on all of the information and the data set that you have. And you sit there and you plan everything out. And normally there's a lot of money involved inside of this thing, so let's not lie. You take a look, you move through it, you plan the things out, and then you start working. You start working on getting all of these elements out to the general public. You sit around and you get the information out there, and all of a sudden now there's the implementation side. You're implementing these strategies to go there and start talking about things that are happening. And now you start incorporating this and you start moving. But then something happens and it didn't work out. The plan and the strategies that you had didn't work as planned, which it happens a good chunk of times. And you sit there and you go, well, that's not what was supposed to happen. Well, we know that those things happen. And all of a sudden the question comes about. How did this fail? How did this not work out? So my question to you is not a hard one, and I guess to an extent it's not an easy one either. But when these things happen, that things are not working in the way that they should, where do you turn? Where do you go? Where do you come about and say, okay, this is where I am going to turn to? Because here's what we tend to forget. Yes, we have ideas. Yes, we have things that we would love to do. Yes, we have things that we want to go out there and do, but not everything that we do will be successful. But also at the same time, when we get back home, we make the assumption that our significant other, if we have one, is not going to understand what we're going through. They're not going to understand everything that has happened to us. So where do you turn? Do you have a community of practice that jumps in and does the things that you do? Do you have an area of places that does things the same way that you would? Or do you have a group of friends that you rely on? And maybe that's more of the question that we should start asking. Currently, what do you do? Currently, where do you turn? And let's just kind of take this out of the world of safety for a moment. And even if you are someone who is not in the safety practice, do you have a group of people that you can turn to regardless of what you're doing? Because that's the difficulty sometimes. Like, let's say, for instance, I was an alcoholic or am an alcoholic. I can go to Alcoholics Anonymous and have discussions with people there, and they will understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying that we need that for a safety group, but also at the same time, too, I want to be able to have the common practice with other people where we can have those conversations. And what I have noticed in the past is that when you go to some of these events where people want to go out there and talk, it's not really talking about what is their problem point, what are their pain points. It is more along a discussion of, well, I can do better safety than you can. No, I do better safety. And that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for somewhere where we can go and have a conversation. I'm not looking for a place like Cheers where everybody will know my name, but it's something where you can have discussions with people where they technically understand what exactly is going on. If you do have that, I would love to hear more about it. If you don't have that, how would you go about building something along those lines? And yes, I know it's difficult. Some of the times when I run into these problems, I just turn to some of the friends that I have and have these discussions. Also, good martial arts gyms can help at the same time, too, when it comes to that extent. But anyways, I wanted you to think about that this morning and go, what does that community look like if you wanted to create, invent, and move on? Because right now, if you're bottling it up, it's probably not a good sign. Anyways, 38 minutes past the top of the hour. This is the Rated R Safety Show.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you. Okay, there you go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging this morning, doing the things that we do. Okay, this song is titled Ease with the Breeze by Tape Machines. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So there you go. Thanks to Tape Machines for allowing us to play this one on the Rated R Safety Show. There you go. Anyways, if you're trying to jump in, talk, get you the linger and the winger and all that kind of fun stuff, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. We'll take a look at what you have coming through, and we'll go from there. So there you go. Anyway, so there you have it. 44 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking some more about some other things that are going on inside of this world. As you know, I am going to tell you the most important thing that I'm going to tell you at any point in my life and during this show is I'm going to tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or you have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741, or you can also go to their website at afsp.org. That is afsp.org to find out some more information. Believe me, we can't do what we do around here in life without you. So if you are struggling with any of these things, please make sure to go to the website where you can have more conversations with people in regards of this all-important matter That is for sure. Anyways, let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Enchanting engagements. Maybe you believe that Valentine's Day proposal would be a perfect way to get engaged. Maybe you think that it's the cheesiest. Maybe you got engaged on Valentine's Day. Well, to each their own. But according to a survey, the most surefire path to alter definitely involved romantic intimate dinner. The poll of 2,000 Americans sought that to find which situation are the best and the worst in getting engaged. Aside from the romantic dinner, people said that the best moments to propose are in order during the holidays, while on vacation, at a concert. Oh, could you ask the person that's doing the concert to marry you? Maybe that's better. Maybe the better question. Or at a wedding. How are you going to ask somebody to be engaged to you at a wedding? That's stealing the thunder from the wedding. The worst ways to get engaged is definitely via text message, followed by in order, during a phone call, or at a fast food joint, or at their parents' home, and during a sporting event. I thought a sporting event would be a good idea, because aren't most concerts held at sporting events? Anyways, that explains why she said no when I texted her, when I called her parents' place and asked her to marry me from the job as a fry cook at the arena. Actually, I think that the perfect way of getting engaged would be on the way to the family's private Caribbean island aboard their private yacht. Yeah. So tell us about some awesome ways that your proposal story was. I mean, were you on Friday? Did you propose at the Dua Lipa concert that was here in Orlando? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's something to think about. Maybe that's the best way to get engaged. Who knows? Who even knows anymore? Anyways, let's talk about some other thing. Potato leeks. Yeah, potato leeks. There are already a lot of dairy alternatives to choose from the latest that could be the game changer because of the cheap of their main ingredients. How about potato milk? Yeah, potato milk is said to be delicious, creamy, and great even for homemade lattes and cappuccinos. Plus, the humble potato uses far less resources than other plants currently that are used for milk, which makes it more affordable. Doug, the world's only commercially available milk brand, recently made it their debut in the UK. But if you'd like to make your own, there are dozens of recipes available online. I know it doesn't sound exactly delicious, but neither does soy milk, and people still do drink that. Anyways, the Idaho Potato Commission celebrated Valentine's Day by announcing a limited product made from the state's signature crop, potato perfume. The fragrance of fries by Idaho is made from distilled Idaho potatoes and essential oils, and is designed to smell like a fresh plate of French fries. And they say that they're great gifts to anyone who can't refuse a French fry. The $1.89 bottles for the fragrance sold out quickly on IPC's website. Great, now my daughter can smell just like every guy that she's ever dated. What? Who said that? I don't know. I'm so confused.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, warming warnings. Here you go. Experts say that climate change is forcing some animals to adapt to the unusual ways. Morgan Tingley, an associated professor of ecology and of evolution and biology at the University of California, LA, says that the species typically adapt in one of three ways. They move from the place to another, or to the regions to get too hot, or they change from the breeding habits such as seasonal timing, and themselves change either through evolution, natural selection, and other changes that have been observed by animals as a result of climate change. Albatross penguins, famous for mating for life, are seeing higher divorce rates from the warm temperatures. Researchers call the fall evidence of significant influence in the environment on divorce rates among long-lived monogamous population. What? Okay, polar bears are inbreeding due to melting sea ice. The lack of genetic diversity could eventually lead to the species' inability to produce fertile offspring without distinct. So I don't know. Sounds like a lot of stuff going on inside of there, but I don't keep up with that kind of stuff. So I guess it is kind of confusing when it's all said and done. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world here. So let's go about this real quick. Actor sentenced for 20 years in a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme. A small-time actor who ran a big Ponzi scheme is on his way to prison. Listen to what Michael Kastner has to say.
Zachary Horowitz was sentenced Monday to 20 years in federal prison and ordered to pay more than $230 million in restitution. The Justice Department says Horowitz raised at least $650 million with bogus claims that investors' money would acquire licensing rights to movies that HBO and Netflix would distribute abroad. Horowitz, whose stage name is Zach Avery, acted in about a dozen mostly low-budget movies. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, so Zach Avery. Let's take a look at what Zachary Avery looks like. Do I know him? Do I know him? Do I know of him? Nope. Don't think I've ever seen him before in my life. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things real quick. I think, matter of fact, before we get too far away from this, let's bring in some more Johnny Smalls and him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Kim. Farrah Gray said, "Build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs." This is an excellent quote. I remember talking to a former employer about a business that I wanted to buy. I hadn't worked for them for a few years, but I absolutely respected their opinion, and I thought pretty highly of them. This decision was the biggest decision I had ever made at this point in my life. I laid out the information. I remember he paused and said, "You should do this. Or I can buy it and you can work for me again." Then he smiled and said, "I think you're ready to do this." Now, over a decade later, I'm really glad I took his advice. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by LSMorgan.com. The problem with having too much fat is not the fat itself, but its changed function. What does that mean? When fat cells start to accumulate, they form adipose tissue. A little bit of that is good to help protect our internal organs, but when there's too much of it, the side effects become a problem. All the excess fat ends up triggering hormonal changes, causing a lot of estrogen to float around, which makes us store more fat. Additionally, fat takes up all the fat-soluble vitamins, such as A, D, E, and K. So the vitamins we need to burn fat end up getting locked up. And lastly, any toxins that we consume end up getting stored there as well, because that's a safer place for them to go than hitting our liver. In other words, the fat becomes a store pool for a bunch of wasted vitamins and toxins. For additional resources, check out alessamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour as we are talking inside of here. Anyways, right in the middle of jury deliberation, a federal judge in New York says that he'll dismiss Sarah Palin's libel suit on the New York Times. Sarah Lee Kessler has more information.
In an unusual development, Judge Jed Rakoff says if the jury finds for Palin, he'll set aside the verdict and dismiss the case. Today's day 3 of deliberations. The judge says Palin's lawyers haven't met the high legal standards for libel. The former Alaska governor and GOP vice presidential candidate is suing the Times, claiming the paper defamed her in a 2017 editorial that erroneously linked her political statements to a deadly 2011 mass shooting in Arizona that nearly killed Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio, New York.
So that's going to be an interesting one to see what the outcomes ends up being over there. That is for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $53 million jackpot or a $35.1 million cash payout. So there you go. If you're interested in playing the game, you have the availability of still doing so because, it's not time yet. Anyways, let's talk about this. Let's talk about things that happened back on this date. Back in 2011, Barack Obama awards writer and activist Maya Angelou the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Wow, I'm glad I butchered that name when I was trying to say it. Anyway, so let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Megan Thee Stallion turns 27. Ziggy turns 31. Amber Riley turns 36. Brandon Boy, 46. Birdman turns 53, Matt Groening turns 58, and Jane Seymour turns 71. So there you go. Those are some birthdays that are happening today if you're on the lookout for that. If you're looking for some reasons to celebrate, here we go, that we will talk about. National Gumdrop Day, Shingles Awareness Day, National Wisconsin Day, and Susan B. Anthony Day. So there you go. All things that you can actually discuss if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world as we are hanging and banging and doing everything that we do around here on the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, let's take a look at some others, because we're about to get out of here. At the top of the hour, I will be going over exclusively to radiobig.fm, and that it will be for Jay Allen in the morning. If you want to come out and hang out and take a listen to what we have going on, we'll be hanging out doing all the stuff that we do over there as well, talking about some craziness that I will not be talking about this morning on this show. Anyways, if you need some whack facts for today, let's talk about this. Bubblegum is pink because that was the only food dye available at the factory when it was first made. Amazon's largest warehouse is about 17 football fields. Is the understanding in all languages. At the end of the TV show Friends, Joey owed Chandler about $114,260. Researchers have shown that dogs actually like the silly high-pitched voice that their owners use to talk to them. Godzilla is officially a Japanese citizen, just in case you did not know that. So there you go. What else do we got going on? What else do we got going on around here? Let's talk about these things real quick. If you need a random joke for today, try this one. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen anyone laughing on the way to the bank. If you need a phone starter for today, what's the absolute worst Valentine's gift that you've ever received? An online poll that finds the worst for a woman who would be roses with a card addressed to someone else. So there you go. That would definitely be one of the worst things that I guess they could find. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. In a survey, women were asked to name the things that could ruin her day. Fighting with her partner was number one. And a bad day, that number two, and was also at number three. What do you think they were? Not fitting into their jeans. That would definitely be the tricks that would not make them too happy about what's going on. Anyways, if you did take a look onto the screener, you did notice the actual little code that's hanging out there. That's referencing our newest ebook that is available, The Psychology of Sexuality, What Turns Us On, Off, and Why. It's readily available at safetyfmplus.com. If you want to go ahead and scan the barcode, you're more than welcome to do so. It will take you into the website and where you can download it if you are a member of Safety FM Plus. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on today. We can't do what we do around here without you, the most important part of Safety FM, and that is the listener. That is for sure. And before I forget, let me talk about this one more time. This is the book from my friends Sydney Decker and Todd Conklin, Do Safety Differently. Do Safety Differently is now readily available. If you're interested in getting a copy, all you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/Amazon. safetyfm.com/Amazon, and that will get you exactly to where it needs to be located. There you go. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on today, because we can't do what we do without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Thank you for listening. Seriously, I really do appreciate it. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. If you want to come and hang out, I'll be over at radiobig.fm. I know who you are. You know who I am. Did you think I was going to forget? Because I didn't. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave with this. You are far too smart to be the only thing standing in the way. Now I can leave you. Anyways, have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.